Okay, good afternoon and good morning, everybody. As you know, today we're discussing what's new in Alma fulfillment. We have a lot of things to discuss. We've got 6 topics here in front of us. We're going to talk about where you can obtain this information from, these presentations. We're also going to be discussing 3 Alma Analytics developments which also relate to fulfillment. So as usual, at the end of our sessions, we will be sending out a link to the recording as well as to the material. I will now, in any case, send out the link to this information, this what's new in Alma fulfillment. And it may look a little nicer if I look for it here just to show you. And this is the information we'll be looking at. So, formally, we can begin. What's new in Alma fulfillment, February 24th, 2020. We're broadcasting live today from our Jerusalem headquarters in our Thomas Safransky Memorial Lecture Hall on the 3rd floor. And we've got a full jam-packed room here. We've also got quite a bit of people logged in remotely. We've got 168 people logged in remotely in a jam-packed room here. There's some seats up in front free if you in the back want to come up in front. And we're up to 170 already, 171, the numbers are going up. In any case, let's begin. So you can access these presentations and we're going to show them, but only very briefly. So the first one we want to point out is delay for hold notification. Most of these developments that we're going to be showing today are ideas exchange developments. For example, if I go to Google here and just do a random search, Google is not my home page, I will go into Google and I just write delay, hold, request, letter, Alma, Ex Libris, ideas. I will probably find that. Look at that. I don't even have to spell it properly and I get it. So, delay time between receiving an item and sending an email notice patron, 414 votes. And that's what we're going to be looking at right now. We would like to be able to configure the amount of time between receiving an item and sending an email notice. Some time is needed between these batch processes. So in simple terms, what they would like is extra time between when the item is scanned in at the circulation desk and the patron gets the letter. So it won't be scanning and then the patron gets the letter, they come right away, and they're not even ready for the patron. So let's see how that's done and what's new. So here I am in Alma. This is November 2019 development. Here I am in Alma, and let me just close all these extra windows. There we are. So I'm going to pop in here to the configuration menu, closing my email, closing my Skype meanwhile. Okay. And over to the main library, because I want to look at the circulation desk. Now, this can be defined on the level of the library or on the level of the circulation desk. If it's defined in both, it's taken from the circulation desk. And if I go, for example, to main library, and I go to fulfillment and to circulation desks, and I'll take the main circulation desk here, edit. We've got a new field here, delay for hold notification minutes. So I've put here 10 minutes. You know what? I'm going to put here 7 minutes now. Now I'll leave it 10. I'll leave it 10. All right. So save. Now, normally, unless somebody makes a major change in their letters or something out of the ordinary, normally what happens is when a hold request gets fulfilled, meaning it's scanned in at the circulation desk, there is a hold request slip that goes into the item and a letter that goes out to the patron. And because we have defined here a hold delay notification for 10 minutes. The slip will be printed, but the letter to the patron will be printed 10 minutes later. Let's give that a try right now. So, first of all, let's make a hold request for somebody. So let's go over to the physical items. Rather than me going into Primo and making this request, I'm just going to do it here in Alma. So I will look for diversity and inclusion in libraries. Okay. And we just happen to have an item on that, and it happens to be in place. And it's AU 65373. AU is for Alma University. And request. So I'm going to create a request on this. Request type, I'll make it a patron physical item request. And I'll take a patron and make that request. And I'll pick it up at the main library because I'm going to scan this in at the main library circulation desk. That's where we defined the 10 minutes, and I will submit. And the request has been made. It's now on the pick from shelf list, and I print a slip. I give it to someone, and I say, here it is, diversity and inclusion. I say, can you please go get this from the shelf? They get it from the shelf, and now I'm at the main circulation desk, and I'm going to scan it in. Scan in items. And I scan in the barcode. Okay. And now it's scanned in. So right now, it's 17:07 local time. And that means at 17:17, a patron, in this case, Alicia Hen, will be getting the hold request letter. Now the hold request slip is already printed. Here it is. I'm going into the 5:07 p.m. You can see that first mail there, 5:07 p.m. And this is the hold request slip printed right now for diversity and inclusion in libraries, a call to action. And we're going to keep an eye on this as we show the rest of our developments. And at 5:17, we're going to see that Alicia will be getting a letter. Okay, so are there any questions or comments on that so far before we go on to our next topic? We're not going to wait here for 10 minutes for the letter to come. We're going to show another topic and then come back here. So I'm going to just take a very quick look at the chat box. Any questions, any comments from anybody? No questions, no comments. Okay, so our colleague Dina has been kind enough to join us to show us some nice developments that we've done in fulfillment for Alma Analytics. So Dina, thank you.
Hello, everyone. So, like Yoel said, I'm going to show you some things that we did for analytics, again, in the fulfillment subject area. So, first thing we're going to jump into is intent location and time of loan. There we go. So, intent location and time of loan is a new attribute which we've added to fulfillment subject area. This field would indicate if an item was in a temporary location at the time of loan. Shocking, I know. So we have an example here. By the way, this could be useful on its own and even more useful when used with the folder item location and time of loan. Just let me close the chat, please. This can help, as we can see here, in evaluating effective use of the collection. So again, we have an example here, but you can look at it yourself. Now I'm going to show it to you in analytics. So going on to analytics, I'm going to open a report I've made beforehand. Now, it's a pretty long drill down to find it, so please bear with me. So it's in shared folders under community. There we go, community. Reports, Ex Ex Libris development. Where is it? Libris development. Report. Wow. Okay, so I can't see it, so I guess we'll just have to improvise. All right, so I'll create a new default myself. So going on into fulfillment, like we said we wanted to show in temp location and time of loan. All right, so this is under loan details in temp location at time of loan. Now I'm gonna take some barcodes just so I could later find it in Alma. And just to spin it a little bit, we'll go to loan date, loan year, and we'll specify it to loans from 2020. Will we have results? Let's see.
Oh, summer no, summer yes,
Yeah.
Perfect. That's better than having a report ready.
Yeah. And life gives you lemons.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, I added the barcode so I could see it in Alma. I just chose one randomly. All right, let's see under items. In the history, first of all, we can see that it's currently not in place. Now, this has a long history, but one of the things we can see is that it's currently, you see at the past, it wasn't in a temp location, but then it was, and later it was loaned. And again, just as we expected to see in analytics. All right, so should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, go ahead. You're on a roll. Keep going.
Okay, and again, with no default made beforehand. That's a new one for me. So we're talking about the next one. We're going to jump into return after loss. Now, again, we like to be pretty straightforward here. So this measure would count the number of items that were returned after being thought of, declared as lost. Now, the logic behind defining an item as lost exists already, and you can see it in the link in the slide here. Now, again, this could be useful when you want to know if maybe your lost policy is too strict and things are being declared as lost too early and you want to change it. Now, in the example, we actually took an existing loan and changed it to lost before declaring it as returned, again manually. And later, the next day, we saw that it was indeed returned after loss. So again, you can see it for yourself, and now I'm going to show it again. So we are already under fulfillment, and I'm just going to cancel everything we did so far. So under loan, you can see return after loss, which is the new measure. And again, taking the barcode. Now, I want to see items that were returned after loss, but I want to see some that weren't. So I'm not going to specify anything. And again, loan date. And I'm going to make it from 2019 just to be on the safe side that we'll actually get results. Oh, you're right. I shouldn't take the loan date, but the loan year. So, loan year. Oh, and it's already in the filter. How comfortable. All right. So we see a lot of zeros, and here we have a 1. Lucky yes. So again, taking the barcode and going into Alma, searching this barcode to find the item. How come it wasn't found?
It could have been deleted since then, or it could have been lost. Yeah, it could have been deleted since then. You have to put in life cycle. Just try another one.
Okay. You know what? How about, since we know that it's return after loss, which means it had been returned, we could make it even more useful by taking the return date. And we're going to take the return year and specify it to 2019. Okay, here we have a bit more results. Let's hope one of them will show in Alma. So, taking the barcode, Wonderful. So again, going into the items tab, under history, oh yeah, this one is the one I believe we looked at. Under history, please bear with me again. Maybe I went into the wrong one. We were talking, I did went into the wrong one. Yeah, Alma is perfect, it's all me. So under history, we can see that at some point this had been loaned, then declared as lost, which was later changed again, as we can see that it had been returned. So again, we can see it in analytics and everything worked as expected. Now I'm going to hand it back to Yoel.
Okay, before we go and look at that mail, because I don't think it's been 10 minutes, we're going to move on to the next topic, which is a new field which has been added to Alma, the last activity date for the patron, and it's going to be added to analytics in the March release, which is coming out Sunday. So again, we've got a PowerPoint on it, which everyone is welcome to look at. Let's go see the PowerPoint first. Last patron activity date. So this too, like the previous one, is an ideas exchange. And let's go take a look at the ideas exchange. So I'm just going to do a Google search again. And this is last date activity patron Alma Ex Libris. That should be enough. And there we go. Okay. So the last activity date, we would like to have a field in the user profile. What they mean is the user record that shows patrons' last active date, i.e. loan, request, or return. This field will be useful when deciding which user profiles to purge. So let's take a look at that. There was a lot of back and forth, as there very often is when we develop something with the user community, about what exactly would trigger the last patron activity date to change. So the ones that will make it change are here. This is from the release notes. It was also a NIRS request, by the way. If the patron makes a request, borrows an item, returns an item, renews an item, or updates his information via Primo. At a later stage, we're going to be adding if he creates a purchase request for Primo. Those are the activities which will update the patron activity date. And by default, it is not enabled. It is not enabled because we need that the institution will formally approve that they want this. That's for the privacy purposes. So if we go into Alma here, into configuration, I'm going to go to the level of the institution and to users and to record last patron activity date. By default, it is not enabled. You need to go and choose yes, and then it becomes enabled. It doesn't become filled in yet. It won't become filled in until there's an actual activity, but it becomes enabled. Let's take a look, for example. If I take patron, what is today, 24 February? If I take a patron, users, so I just happen to have a patron named Elia. And if we look at Elia, she has a last patron activity date of yesterday, 2302. I'm looking right here. And if I look at another patron, Anna doesn't have a last activity date, and she doesn't have a last activity date because since the time that this institution has enabled the last patron activity date, there has been no activity for Anna. However, Now, if we come along and we give them some activity, let's see what's going to happen. So I'm going to say admin, fulfillment, manage patron users, and I'll take Anna first, and we'll loan her something override. It was suspended, but that's all right. We'll just override. And I'll just make it simple. I'll take this one here, and I will return it and loan it, just to give her some activity. And loan. Okay. And we'll even return. And now we'll go to fulfillment. We're done here. Fulfillment, manage patron services. And this time we'll take Elia. Elia had, if you recall, February 23rd. Anna didn't have anything. We loan this now to Elia. And let's see what's going on here. So, general information tab. Elia has now changed to 24. Previously, she was 23. 24 February today. Anna, who didn't have a last patron activity date at all, now has it filled in with today. And like I said, that is going to be in Alma Analytics in the March release. Let's just make sure here, if I look at the PowerPoint, that I didn't miss anything important. We said it needs to be defined. We said these are the activities which will upload it, which will update it. These will not update it. Again, big back and forth with various concerned parties, we'll call them, what will and what won't. And it can be viewed, as we saw right here, in the General Information tab. And it's also in the March release, going to be in Analytics. We've got the last activity date in the user details. Okay, I think it's probably been 10 minutes. Here it is, look at that. And exactly, this is a nice system, exactly 10 minutes. You can see the second email at 5:07 is the hold shelf request slip. And only 10 minutes later, that's the ideas exchange delay for hold request letter. It took 10 minutes, 5:07 to 5:17, for this letter to go to Alicia and tell her that diversity and inclusion in libraries, a call to action, is available on the circulation desk hold shelf. Okay, so let's just see if we got any questions. I think I saw a chat pop up before. So somebody, I don't give people's names, so feel free to ask whatever you want. I'm just going to say someone asked. Someone asked, are both of those fields, temp location and return after loss, available for all data in analytics or just from a certain time period forward? It's all data. It's all periods. It's not from the time of development onwards. In fact, I believe Dina even showed it from early 2019 before it was developed. So that's historical as well. Okay, let's see if there's anything else here. Someone said audio is cutting out. Does everybody hear okay? Just send me a hand wave or send in a chat and say, yes, I hear you, if you hear all right. Anyone hear us all right? Audio is okay, all good here. I can hear you, I can hear you. Okay, we're good. I hear okay. Oh, everybody's hearing. Okay, let's actually see who's on here. I'd like to see who's with us. Participants, 203 attendees. I always say eventually we're gonna go over the limit of WebEx and have to either put in an ideas exchange for WebEx. Please allow us more than 203 participants, or we'll just have to move on to another software. But let's see what happens. Okay, let's move on. Enough chatting. And now we're going to go to loan statistics in physical title search results December 2019. Another ideas exchange, by the way. You know, ideas exchange is one of the places we prefer to do things from because, you know, we see the votes, so we know how many people are interested in it. And it's a nice framework for conversing with the people who are requesting, asking for questions, etc. So here it is, the ideas exchange in the other details tab of physical titles and all search. Physical title and all title search results. The following new loan statistics are available. So we've got number of loans, number of in-house loans, year-to-date loans, last in-house use date, and last loan date. And if I go into Google and do another search and say loan hold request history, history, there we are, that's close enough. And here we are, ideas exchange, this is what was requested. And they even pointed to another Ex Libris product, which starts with the first two letters as Alma, same first two letters as Alma, which did have this in the circulation items tab. So let's take a look without further ado. So where am I here? Let's go, okay, let's go here. So if I do a search here now, for example, we'll search for community psychology common sense. There we are. And right now I'm in the physical items. So when I'm searching the physical items, I have the results per item. If I go into the other details now, let me do that in the title actually. Okay, so I've got other details, and here I see number of loans 93, 8 in-house uses, 3 completed requests, 5 year-to-date loans. And same thing on the next barcode, I can say other details, and 70 loans, and 6 year-to-date loans. Then I can also search here. Let me just see one more time. I've got 70 and I've got 93. And now if I say I want to go physical titles, and now I say other details, what's 70 and 93? 163. Here we are. So now I'm looking at the level of the title. Previously, I was looking at the level of the items, and I saw one barcode had 70, one barcode had 93. Here I see the whole number of loans is 163. The year-to-date loans is 11. The last loan date is yesterday. The last in-house use loan date is May 29th, etc. So this is useful for somebody who is considering perhaps weeding, deselecting, deciding, do we need this? Can we put this in the closed stacks? Can we put this in the remote repository? Can we get rid of it? Do we need another copy? Maybe there's a lot of loans going on. So there it is in the repository search results. Okay, before we go on to the next analytics development, are there any questions or comments here? Oh, somebody asks, this is relating to the delayed hold request letter, I assume. Somebody asks, is there a way to delay an interested user getting an email? Currently, when processing is finished and we click done, the interested user gets a mail. No, there's no way on the interested user letter. However, the interested user functionality has two options. One is to have just a letter notification, and one is to create a hold request. So if you use it with the creating a hold request, then this functionality is in place. Somebody also asked, can the other details be found in analytics? Everything that appears here on the screen is in analytics. It's not called other details, but everything that you see on the screen here is in Alma Analytics. Okay, so let's go over now. The time is always going fast when we do these sessions. Let's go now to Dina, and Dina, feel free to show another Alma Analytics fulfillment development for the current releases.
All right, so I'm gonna try to speak up. We have a saying in Hebrew, the dancer blames the floor for being crooked.
Yeah,
so I don't know if you have an equivalent, so I'm not gonna blame the mic. I'm gonna try to speak up, and if you can't hear me, I'll check the chat here and there. Let me know if you have any problems. All right, so the next and last development in analytics that I'm gonna show today is renewal circulation desk. This is a new dimension, and again, to fulfillment. Here we have, okay, for now, no complaints, all is good. So here we have a new folder called renewal circulation desk, which would show us the circulation desk in which an item had been renewed. Now, this can be used for many things, but can be very useful if you're trying to analyze the use of self-check machines. Now, again, we have an example, but we're going to show, not tell, in analytics. Previously, we had no reports, so again, we're going to create one under fulfillment. Now, in the existing report we had, which I can't find, we specified the return circulation desk to be different from the loan circulation desk, just so we can get an actual look at it and make sure it works. So I'm going to do it too. We're going to take the circulation desk code. This session should be named Alma for UBIS because essentially that's what I am, so please bear with me. Okay, so under the filter, we're going to go to convert this filter to SQL. And I'm just going to copy the name of the field so I'll have it. And going to loan circle. Oh, I just see that I was in return instead of renewal. So within this one, going to renewal. Again, renewal circulation desk code. Going to filter, convert this filter to SQL, taking the name of the field, and then to loan circulation desk, and taking the circulation desk code. Again, filtering is not equal to, convert this filter to SQL, the thing we've copied just a minute ago. Okay, and we want, okay, let's just make it not null. Otherwise, it would be pretty pointless. And let's take loan details, barcode, and let's see the results we have. Okay, so we have only a few ones where the no circulation desk is different from the circulation desk code. And we'll just take one real quick and go to Alma to make sure it's working. So, back to Alma homepage. We want physical items. All right, so under process type, we have transit, which I don't think is what we were looking for. Okay. Under transit. Okay, I'll just go back. Okay, here I don't see a process type.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it. It was loaned in one place and returned in another. Sorry. Thank you so much for your time.
And another useful part of this, that it's loaned in one circulation desk, renewed in another circulation desk, is it's possible to see what's loaned in one place and then renewed somewhere else, which may be a self-check machine. Self-check machines defined as a circulation desk could be defined as the circulation desk, and then you know what's renewed at which self-check machines. Okay, so we're going to move on now. This one was from, these are from the first floor and then the main circulation desk. Yeah, we've got a lot of nice examples here. Edit the item, little history, fulfillment, main circulation desk. Yep, then it was renewed. Okay, so let's go on here now. I'm going to do a somewhat complicated one right now. It's restricting requests by a patron campus. So let's take a look here. We'll open the PowerPoint, but again, we're going to look at it only very, very briefly. Restrict requests by patron campus. Okay. Now, what's the situation here? We have two users and again, an ideas exchange, but we're not going to go into the idea. We'll go into the ideas exchange. Why not? So we've got ideas ex libris. We'll say request and restrict and campus. Boom. Okay. So what's the request here? With 242 votes, in order to reduce transit time, we wish to be able to limit physical items to be requested by campus-affiliated patrons only. So let's say there's two campuses. There's a downtown campus and there's a medical school campus, and they don't want patrons who are part of the medical school campus to make requests on items from the downtown campus, because then it's got to be transited all the way to the other campus, and that's a long transit time. That may be one reason. That's what they point to here. There could be additional reasons as well. So it's another ideas exchange development. Now, let's see what's going on here. In my environment here, I have two campuses. I've got three campuses, but we're going to look at two of them. So I'm in the configuration menu, and I go to General. I'm on the level of the institution, and I'll say Define Campuses. So here's the Art Campus, the first one. The Art Campus, if we say Edit and go to Libraries, serves the Art Library. And let's just write that down here on the side. So we have the Art Campus serves the Art Library. And then we're going to see, and what's going on here? Cancel. The Art Campus serves the Art Library. Then we have, we'll see in a moment, the main campus serves, among others, the main library. Okay. So, then we have the main campus here, which serves, among others, the main library. Okay. Then we have two patrons. One patron is Catherine. Users, Catherine. Okay. So Catherine is associated with the Art Campus. The Art Campus. And then we have another user who we already saw earlier today, Alicia. Alicia is associated with the main campus. Okay. Sorry, here. Everybody sees it. Campus right here. So Now we have user Catherine is associated with the art campus. User Alicia is associated with the main campus. Okay, great. Now we'll see the new rules. If I come into the fulfillment unit, I'm going now to fulfillment units. This is the fulfillment unit, which includes those libraries. And if I go to request and I add a rule, I have a new parameter here, which is patron affiliated campus. This is what's new. The option to make a rule according to the patron affiliated campus. And I can choose that and say, for example, equals a certain library, does not equal a certain library, is empty, not empty, whatever. So I have 3 rules here. The first one says, if the patron affiliated campus is art campus, and the location is one of the locations of the art library, then it's always requestable all the time. I could look at the terms of use details, but you'll trust me that if I called it always requestable all the time, it really is requestable. Okay. Then the next rule here, you know, these rules read from top to bottom. There's all science behind fulfillment unit rules. We could have a whole week seminar just on fulfillment unit rules, but we'll save that for another week. So here I say if the patron affiliated campus is the main campus and the location is not the art library, then it's always requestable. So that means if a patron does have main campus, then he can, and the item is not one of these, he can request it. However, then we have no requests allowed. If one of the previous 2 conditions are not met, then no requests are allowed. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Now we have an item, and by the way, I've got this all summarized in the PowerPoint here. And you can read these on your own time. If the patron is in the art library, he can loan the item in the art library. If it's in the main library, he can loan the item in the main library. Otherwise, he can't do a request. Okay. Now, so let's go take a look here. And I'm just going to check here before we do it that I don't have any booking going on. Okay, no booking going on, because I don't want to get in confusing when I go into preview. Okay, now we've got a sample item. Sample item, also right here, is Watteau's Painted Conversations. Okay, and it has 1 item, and it's in the art library. Here we go. 1 item in the art library. Let's take a look. First, we're going to do it in Alma. So we'll say physical items by title, boom. 1 item in our art library. Okay, now, both of our patrons go into Primo. Let me go into my Primo. Okay. Yes, I want to leave. Thank you very much. And we sign in. Now, first I'm going to sign in as Alicia. Alicia has the main library as her campus. This is going to be Alicia. And she comes along and does a search. And she goes to the Get It tab or the location, and she wants to see what's going on here. And in the Get It, she has no option here to make a request. She can't make a request. Yes, she can do resource sharing, a purchase request, OCLC Navigate, a relay, but she can't make a request, a patron physical item request. She logs out, and Teresa logs in. It was Teresa, right? That was her name? Catherine. Catherine Teresa. Her last name is Teresa. Okay. Boom. Okay, Catherine is logged in. Catherine does the same search in the library catalog, goes to make a request, and she does have the link right here, request. She makes her request, and everything is good. And that's because she belongs to the same campus as that item, and Alicia does not belong to the same campus as that item. I know that was a little involved, but there was no other way to properly show that. So I'm glad you were able to bear with me. If we look now at Catherine Teresa, we'll see that she has that hold request. There it is. Okay. Are there any questions or comments on that one? I'm going to the chat. Questions, comments? No questions, no comments. Everyone still hearing us okay? All the technical details are all right? Okay. Yep, everyone can hear us. Okay. The last and final development we want to show, or are there two more? Let's take a look here. Presentations and documents. Oh, there's two more. I'm going to do that DARA one first, in case we don't have time. So DARA. Everybody knows DARA. Who knows what DARA stands for? First person to send it out gets a special prize. It's not a free trip to Luna, but gets a special prize. DARA, Alma, Ex Libris. I'll give you a hint. The D is for data. One of the, is it for data? No. One of the A's is for assistant. Let's take a look here. Data Analysis Recommendation Assistant. Okay. All right. So let's continue here. So this is a development related to DARA. And let's open it up. DARA identifies highly requested titles. And here's the PowerPoint, which you can all read at home. So there's a new recommendation from DARA, and it's working on an analytics report. Let's take a look at it. I'm not even going to go through the PowerPoint. So where's my Alma University? Here we are. If I go back into the analytics of Alma University, I will see catalog that the reports here, right now I'm in Alma University reports DARA. I have high request load and unavailable portfolios. Now, the way the DARA reports work, by the way, is underneath Alma DARA, we've got the defaults. If an institution wants to customize any of their DARA reports, they can do that underneath the name of their institution, reports DARA. And if we look, for example, at this high request load, okay, Avia won, yeah. Avia, congratulations. Avia and Amy, that was a close call. They both start with A, just like Alma and Olive. Okay, so this is the default report, which is given out of the box, and someone can come along and change it. So it says that it's a patron physical item request. There have been more than 5 requests in the last year. The average time that it takes for the request to be available is greater than 5 days. It's a physical book, and the purchase order line for that item is more than a year old. That way it's checking, and these are just the defaults, that it's not something currently on loan also. Let's take a look what happens there. So if I come along and I say view recommendations, spinning around there, and I get the category of high request load, I now have all of those items that meet my criteria. For example, you see here the average number of days until it's available is 8, and there were 6 requests in the last year. Here I've got 6 requests in the last year, 29 days on average until it was available. 7 requests in the last year, 11 days until available. And I'm sure you all know about Dara. I can click Let's Do It. By the way, that Let's Do It text will soon be changing to something a little more specific per the type of recommendation. And it brings you to the title, and from there you can say, okay, I want to order another item, or okay, I want to change the circulation policy, or I want to move it to closed stacks or reserve or whatever. And the main thing is you're getting an alert automatically that you have these high request load items. Okay, so that's the DARA recommendation for high load. I think we can squeeze in one more development here. So let's do that. The last one we want to show, look at all these PowerPoints I've got open. The last one we want to show is the bulk actions in the reading room. Let's take a look at that one. So for those of you who don't use the reading room, by the way, we've got some very powerful reading room functionality you may want to check out if you have a reading room. So the way the reading room works, without getting into the details of the reading room, is there's 3 tabs in a reading room. A student can come, or a user can come, and he can keep things in the reading room. First, they can be transferred there for him, and then they're waiting for pickup. Then they can be held by the patron. He's using them. He's in the reading room using those items. And then he can return them with what's called return not final. Means he's leaving them in the reading room, but on the whole shelf of the reading room. And previously, in order to process these items, each one individually needed to be clicked. And now it can all be done in bulk. Let's take a look. So I happen to have a reading room here, which is named after the same person for whom the lecture hall we're in now is, the Thomas Safransky Lecture Hall, and we have the Thomas Safransky Reading Room. So let's go to the Thomas Safransky Reading Room. There it is. And I will go from here to the active hold shelf. Okay, so we've got held by patron. And it used to be that if I wanted to get these are now being used by the patron. I'm working at the desk of the reading room. Previously, if that patron had come and given me all of these items, I would need on each one to click receive from patron. Now I can just make sure I've got them all, select all, receive from patron, and they've all been received, as you see in my collapsible pop-up, and they've gone to the hold shelf. And now they're on the shelf, and again, I can select all. Patron comes the next day, says, hey, I want my items. I get them from, doesn't say, hey, I want my items. It says, hi, dear librarian, may I please have the items I left here yesterday? And the staff takes them and all in one shot, selects all, says loan to patron, and they all get loaned to the patron. And this select all also works on the print slips. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's session. And is there anything else? I see a question about the roles with the DARA recommendations. I don't want to get into the whole subject of roles and DARA recommendations right now. It's a larger topic which is being handled, but I don't want to get into it in this session right now, so excuse me on that. Okay, are there any other questions or comments dealing specifically with what has been developed here and shown? We'll We'll just give a few more moments here. And I don't see anything else coming up. So thank you everybody for joining us. We'll be sending out the link to the recording here, as well as to those presentations, even though you have those presentations as well. And thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Have a nice day.